Okay, well, what a fantastic turnout. We've got hundreds of you joining us today. Welcome to everyone who has just joined. I think we're going to start the webinar now. My name is Jay and I'm the sales director at Push. And Push Group are a digital marketing agency who focus on all areas of digital marketing, both paid and organic. And we are delighted today to introduce you to our head of SEO, Dre. Now, Dre has 20 years experience in SEO, and he's worked with a wide range of businesses from startups to huge brands like Amazon. And we're very pleased to announce that Dre has just become a published author with the release of his new book, Data Driven SEO. We hope you look forward to going through the webinar today. We will have time for questions at the end, so please feel free to submit your questions in the chat and we'll select some of those. There will be opportunities to follow up with Dre directly if your questions don't get answered in today's webinar. And I hope you look forward to hearing from Dre. So with that, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Jay. Hello, I'm Dre, and Dre, not Jay. And we're going to cover what is SEO, why SEO, how it works, the hacks, and chat about ChatGPT. So let's go. So what is SEO? It's really about getting your company or organization visible so that when people are searching for your product, you appear number one on the search engines. So why SEO? Well, there's a few trends that we're seeing right now. Okay, first thing is that most of your traffic right now is probably coming from one channel and usually paid. That's certainly what we see in the startup world. Okay, so we're a bit over reliant there. The second thing is that we're seeing 20% thereabouts year-on-year increases in cost per click. Okay, so your media costs are increasing. It's costing you more to get the same volume of revenue and leads. The other thing is that there comes a point where the more you spend, the less efficiency or less return on advertising spend you're going to get. So obviously, whilst paid media spend is great, you're going to reach a limit and you're going to need support from other channels, especially organic search if you're investing in paid search. So here's an interesting stat. 42% of people in the UK prefer to use search engines when using a product, when looking for a product or service, and that is more than double that of social media, and that's as of 2022, so pretty recent. Okay, so the thing to note is that paid search cannot capture all of the searches. Awareness terms such as, let's take the mobility baths market in search, struggling to get into the shower. Okay, that is an awareness term. So people are searching online, they're searching to express the problem and potentially are looking for a solution. And then you've got the considerations like, okay, well, now that they've seen some answers online based on some articles in Google, they see that there are potential solutions out there, such as level access showers. What do they cost? That's the consideration stage. And then we have the comparison. Okay, they know that these solutions exist, but they now want to compare providers in the market. John Ford, Aged Care, Contour, etc. And then once they've decided, they're ready to convert, and then they'll search for the brand. Okay, so what we find is that the returns are sufficient enough for paid search to cover those 3 stages of the online search journey for your buyers. Okay, whereas the ROI is too low for paid search to cover awareness. If a paid search agency were to actually spend client money on awareness terms, they'd probably get sacked because the ROI simply isn't there, and startups and brands simply don't want to pay for it. The other thing to bear in mind, though, is that there tend to be a lot more higher volumes of buyers who have problems before they look for solutions. So by engaging in SEO and having your content ranking for those awareness searches, you are going to connect with your buyers sooner than your competitors who are not engaged in SEO. And that means that by engaging with them earlier, you're going to get higher ad returns from paid search. Why? Because your buyers, having connected with your brand in the awareness phase, are already pre-sensitized to you, your brand, when they see your ads during the consideration, comparison, and conversion phases of their search journey. So that's going to give you higher ad returns, and it's also going to drive more people from awareness to those latter stages. So it's not just higher returns and higher conversion rates, but it's also higher volumes. So how does it work? Well, it's all about the search experience. Let me explain. We've got the engine experience. So this is how this describes the experience, the interaction of search engines with your website. Then we have the user experience, which is how your buyers and your target audiences interact with your website. And then we've got the internet experience. These are groups of people outside of your target audience, so influencers like journalists, editors, bloggers, your buyers' family and friends, those sorts of people. So how do we actually maximize the search experience? Well, from the engine experience perspective, we run technical site audits, okay? So this is about coming up with solutions to questions such as, can Google find your content? When it does find the content, can Google understand it, okay? And we have the content. You know, when users or your buyers visit your website, is your content giving the buyers the answers they were looking for when they searched on that particular keyword? To tick that box with the internet experience, the best practice way and the most efficient way of ticking that box is digital PR. Is your content so good that people or the internet sends traffic to it? Okay, that's what it all comes down to. That is how you maximize those search experiences. So exactly, to succeed at SEO, you need to make sure your site maximizes all of those experiences. And it's no accident that the internet experience was the widest bar in that infographic we shared earlier. Okay, you see, the thing is, the technical experience, the engine experience and the user experience, we can all optimize to that because we have a lot of control over our own websites. We can improve the content management system to make the content more discoverable. We can tag up the content so that the search engines know which page to display in the search results when users search for a certain keyword. But the internet experience, well, that's something we can't control directly. And so search engines, especially Google, trust what the internet thinks of your website rather than what you say on your own website. Okay, we all tend to trust what other people say about something rather than what the person is saying about themselves. That's just how it is. And that's why Google managed to leapfrog the competition back in 1998. That was the difference their algorithm made. And so the way to overcome that challenge is with digital PR, and we'll talk more about it later. So now, in fact, so the digital PR, it builds your site's internet experience scores. Okay, it's about getting endorsement by way of hyperlinks from high traffic websites that are credible in the eyes of search engines, such as these exalted publications that you see before you. And if you're getting traffic from these websites, Google does the math and thinks, well, there's a good chance that you should be trusted, and therefore you should be ranking prominently in the search results. So what are the hacks? Well, it's knowing where to start. That is the central question to answer. So the way you answer that question is you've got to understand those experience. Now that you understand the experience model of engine, user, internet, you now need to benchmark yourself against the competition, okay? So we've taken, continuing with the mobility baths sector or market, we've taken a fictional, your website, and we've benchmarked it against all of the other leading competitors in that search space, okay? So you need to collect the data not just on your website, but you need to collect it on your competitors, and then you need to benchmark and then put it in the fancy chart if you so desire. And as we can see that from a search engine friendliness point of view or a technical SEO perspective, it's thereabouts. It's behind all of the competitors, but you know, it's not exactly 0 or 25, which would be near catastrophic, but certainly room for improvement. So why do we benchmark? Well, you want to see how your site compares. You want to see how far behind you are. It's no use just running site audits, listing all these issues and fixing all of them, only to find that 10% actually make the difference. That's just running around in circles, and it's no wonder that it's become a maxim now that SEO is a very long-term thing. So in this example, we've looked at traffic generating content. That would be a reflection of the user experience. You know, do you have the content that users are searching for, i.e. your buyers? And we can see that in this fictional example, your website is a distant 6th. Okay, so the great thing about benchmarking is that you can actually see how many content pieces you need to produce in order to put yourself at the top of Google. Okay, so in this case, not only do we know how far behind we are, we actually have a number, it's quantified. So in this fictional case, we can see that 90 more content pieces are required to be visible. Okay, but it's all very well saying you need more content. You know, anybody could probably tell you that. So how do we do that? Well, use data science. Okay, and how do you use data science? Well, what you do is you take data, again data, from you and your competitors. You overlap the data like a good old Venn diagram that you would have been shown at school. And what you're looking for is that intersect here, right in the middle, where you have 2 or 3 overlapping competitors in your search space. Because if you and your competitors, or even just your competitors, are getting traffic from these keywords, the chances are that that is the content Google expects of a brand operating in your market space. Okay, so that means that to even be considered as a serious player in the search space for your market sector, you need to have that content. Okay, and using set mathematics, which is a technical term or jargon term for a Venn diagram, you can discover what those keywords are and therefore what content you need to rank for that, you know, to be a prominent player in your market. So how do you do it? We'll show you. You simply get the positions data from SEMrush for you and your competitors. I really cannot emphasize that enough. Then you use Python, which is a computer programming language, to overlap the keywords. Okay, so that's how you find those overlaps, as I described earlier in that Venn diagram. And the overlaps will tell you what articles or what content you should be producing. And this is not limited to just B2B, it works for e-commerce as well. It tells you what product categories you should make readily available to your buyers. Okay, and you can also prioritize it. So, you know, if you get a list of, say, 20 core content pieces that you must produce, then you can prioritize it by revenue, like we do in the case of e-commerce, or simply by search volume. So, okay, what about the internet experience? Okay, so the thing is, what I've seen, certainly in my 20 years, is that brands do not suffer the problem of the internet experience. You know, they spend so much money, you know, $500,000 to $1 million on TV advertising. You know, it's what they do, and they attract links naturally. So by contrast, with the startup world, it's the complete opposite. They need to get links in order to be visible. They have very different challenges to enterprise brands like Amazon, Waitrose, etc. So here we measure the internet experience using domain authority, and most startups average around 20. So in this case, by looking at the data itself, we can see in a quantifiable manner that just by doubling the DA, if you're at around 20, you can double the amount of top 10s. Okay, and the way you do digital PR is in a simplistic way. You start with ideation. This is where you brainstorm ideas that attract links. You do your research to see who's writing about companies in your industry, okay, and what is it they're writing about. So doing all that research and understanding your audience, coming up with ideas for content that would attract links. And then you actually do the research itself. So you conduct surveys, polls, you might have some proprietary data, you may use some third-party sources, but you collate it in the way that is unique to you. The most important thing is you need to do this research, and it needs to be primary or proprietary, because there is no value for a journalist or an influencer to link to you if they can find that data elsewhere. So you really need to do your research so that you have something of unique value that will attract links. Now, once you've done that research, you need to analyze the outcomes and then write about it. You need to create the content that summarizes your research and tease out some really interesting headlines that would pique the interest of these influencers, and then naturally you need to do the outreach to tell the world about it, in particular journalists, influencers, bloggers, etc. Okay, and when I say bloggers, I mean important bloggers that actually have a following, not somebody willing to be slipped a brown envelope of 500 quid and write about anybody. Those are the type of links that get penalized. You do not want that. You want your SEO to be evergreen, growing, thriving in the face of Google updates, which happen multiple times per year. And as you can see, this is an example, an anonymized example of a client. This is what we typically deliver: 50 to 200 backlinks over 12 months or beyond, simply because it looks good to Google. If you think about it, as I mentioned earlier, enterprise brands have links growing constantly towards their brand. Okay, so if you behave like a brand and you show Google that your content is able to attract links over, growing over a period of time, then you're showing that you are worthy of being at the top of Google, and that's just how it is. So digital PR not only helps you get to the top of Google, but it also helps you stay at the top of Google and helps you profit from Google algorithm updates, such as the broad core update, product update, reviews update, etc. ChatGPT. So for those that don't know, ChatGPT is an interface where you type questions just like you would into Google, but the difference is instead of giving you 10 blue links, it will actually give you an answer. So the AI is here, it's today, and it's a game changer. As mentioned, Google gives you a list, okay, which is great. We've all been addicted to Google for the last 25 years, okay, but the game changer is that ChatGPT will, if you're in a rush, which most people are, you just want the answer, and ChatGPT takes that extra simple but crucial step. I say simple if you know AI. If it takes that crucial step of distilling all of that data into one single answer. It gives you what you really want, okay? Saves you time. So how could SEO benefit? Well, there's a number of ways, and this is by no means exhaustive. It could help you create blog content, okay? You could ask ChatGPT to give you answers, ideas even, on how to write a blog on those target articles that we identified earlier. Use it for inspiration, give you ideas, overcome that writer's block. Writer's block now should be a thing of the past, thanks to ChatGPT. You can even use it to write your meta titles and descriptions. In 20 years, I've never met a single copywriter that's enjoyed writing meta descriptions. You know, they'd rather go in front of an audience and speak to 1,000 people. So yes, you know, again, ChatGPT, the technology is at your fingertips. It allows specialists to focus on what they enjoy doing best, which is creating, not doing what a computer can do in their sleep. So it does come with health warnings, okay? Google has come out to say that AI generated content would fail Google's algorithms. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use ChatGPT. Yes, use it for inspiration. Just make sure you add that final layer of quality assurance, okay? Just make sure it's edited, make sure it fits your brand guidelines and your tone of voice and your brand positioning. That's essential. You know, you don't want to produce content that everybody else has produced. Otherwise, there's no value add to the internet, and Google will just fail you on that premise. The other thing is that ChatGPT will get it wrong. Why? Because the models are 2 years old. You know, they took data from the internet up until 2021. Just to give you an example, I deliberately asked a very technical question on creating custom XML sitemaps in Shopify, and it absolutely failed. All of the advice given in ChatGPT's answer is incorrect. You know, some of the features that it's advised don't even exist anymore because Shopify has moved on. So just something you need to bear in mind. So you know our secrets now, or at least some of them. So why are we telling you our secrets? Well, apart from telling you some of them, the game change. Look, there's a lot of bright minds in SEO across the world, but the thing is that having ideas and techniques is one thing, but having the technology to scale it so you get results sooner rather than later, that is what counts. That is our edge. We've got that technology. And naturally, that's how we get results, and fast. So I have a little surprise. We're going to give you our secrets. Fancy that. The secrets are available for a price, but for you, the first 5 applicants get a signed copy of my book. All you need to do is share a key takeaway from the webinar, either on LinkedIn, and just make sure you tag Push Group. So yeah, if you like help with your SEO, I'd be delighted to hear from you. Just use that email address below. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dre. Now, before everyone drops off, we're going to open the floor for questions. And you have a person with 20 years experience sitting in front of you, so why not use that time to ask any questions that you've been burning to ask? Before we go on to that, just to reiterate what Dre was mentioning about the key takeaways. I mean, a key takeaway from me, my background is paid search, and throughout the last 13 years, I've had people ask me, do people click those ads? And I have to give them evidence that paid search is relevant. And I'm sure Dre's had the same thing, proving the worth of SEO, and people saying, well, I click the ads, I don't go on those organic listings. And throughout the history of digital marketing, there's definitely been moments in time where there are advantages of putting more effort into one area over the other. But the stage that we're at now, you have technology moving at such a fast rate that it's a challenge for agencies like us who live and breathe digital marketing to keep up, let alone marketing departments in businesses who are dealing with offline and online in their remit. So with these big changes happening that can be really dramatic and massively impact results, you really can't afford to have all your eggs in one basket. And so to future-proof your growth, you've got to have multiple strategies in place. So please feel free to ask some questions. I've already had some coming through. So the first question for you, Dre, in the long run, where do you see SEO going with the emergence of these large language models like ChatGPT?
Yeah, that's really interesting because we're entering a phase now, or we've entered the phase where we're going to have search results that, unlike Google, where you get 10 options, it's winner takes all. Okay, so you're going to have maybe a single answer, and that single answer may come from a single source, such as your brand, or it may come from a number of sources if those LLMs are actually citing the sources where it comes from. So, you know, at the moment, up to this point in the last 25 years of SEO, we've had very simple tools to simulate the interaction of Google with your website. Now, I think in the face of LLMs, we're going to have to create effectively what is SEO GPT to simulate the interaction of these LLMs with your web content so that we can understand and correlate with machine learning models what it takes to be visible in the era of LLMs like ChatGPT.
Thank you. And another question here, it's quite funny, I've heard this one before. Someone's asked, is an SEO really just a case of buying links from marketplaces or guest blogging?
Yes, I shan't name and shame these marketplaces. Look, it's not a case of that. I mean, it's a case if you want to get penalized and you want to waste a lot of money. Yes, you can buy links from places like Forbes. You know, if you join the one of their councils, you're easily looking at $8,000. But really, I mean, that's just going to get you, and that's per year, $8,000 per year, and that's just going to get you multiple links, but from the same website. So that's a very low ROI. It's not very scalable either, whereas doing data-driven digital PR, well, if you do it correctly, not only is it scalable, but it's also cost-effective, and you're not going to get penalized by Google updates. So, you know, if you want to carry on being running the risk of being penalized, which is near certain, if you want to engage in a non-scalable practice such as buying links and spending a lot more money for it, then you know that go in with your eyes open, caveat emptor is all I can say.
Okay, this one is a very interesting question. With lots of experts out there, what should we look for from an SEO agency?
I think you need to, first of all, have that honest question. You know, what are your fees based on? The old agency model, which has been around and still will continue to be around, is the basis of selling time. You know, what is the day or the hourly rate? And the fact of the matter is, it's irrelevant. You know, especially with data science technologies like Python and all the machine learning libraries that come with it. It doesn't matter how long things take. You need to be working with an agency that sells on deliverables, you know, so it doesn't really matter how long it takes. It's like, well, you know, can you show case studies where you got significant results in a short amount of time? You know, it seems that we have a hangover in the industry where, you know, 90% of agencies want to string you along for, you know, 9 to 12-month contracts. Okay, it's better to be going for agencies that have proven track records of getting results significantly and in a short space of time.
Okay, thank you. Another one that's come through is, do we really need data science SEO? How essential is it?
Look, I've got to choose my analogies carefully, but you wouldn't turn up to a Formula One race with a bicycle. So why would you turn up to in my view, the greatest competition in the world, being getting to the top of Google, with a desktop calculator. You know, you need data science, and there's no excuse for it. Google, all of the information, the results for Google are in the public domain. Okay, so that's your outcomes, and the inputs, which can be modeled, is also in the public domain, such as how many web pages does a website have. You know, so SEO is very data rich. You're working within an environment where the outcomes are determined by an algorithm, such as Google. You know, it's not a committee of people that decide where you can hand them a brown envelope. It is an algorithm. So, you know, when you're in an environment that's determined by an algorithm, that's objective, and the environment is data rich, the missing link is data science, you know, the mathematics and the coding to make sense of it all so that you get results sooner rather than later. So yes, if you want to succeed and you want to get maximum ROI from your SEO, you really need data science.
Okay, Dre, thank you very much for taking time to answer the audience's questions. If there are any more questions that anyone has, just remember you can email us at hello@pushgroup.co.uk, and Dre will be happy to provide you with further answers to any other questions that you have. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed it, and feel free, once we send you a copy of the webinar, to share it with anyone else that may find it useful. Bye-bye.